Okay.
I'm getting them. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Class.
Myra is like a ask and receive kind of gal. We were just chatting and starting the podcast and talking about what we were going to talk about today. And then I was like, oh, last week I thought it was really fun because she drew some cards for us. And I was like, oh, do you have those handy? No, but I can get them. 2 seconds later, here's
Oh, yeah.
Myra producing.
Because this will fit
Yeah,
beautifully into the topic today because I'm
I know.
leveraging a person who will be more than happy to hand them to me.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
So
Our trusty, is it our trusty Blake?
it is.
The
Our
behind the
Blake.
scenes magic.
He is everywhere. And honestly, I love actually this happening. This is beautiful because this is my life. Like, in a loving way. I don't even need to explain it. I need to stop over explaining. That'll be good for me too. But I was just telling Blake, I said, our marriage, I view it as the greatest business partnership of my life. Because it is. Like, our finances are together, right?
Uh-huh.
We make big purchases together. We make these huge decisions together around like career and moving and life. Like, I'm
Uh-huh.
doing it with this person. And I think like if more people really looked at that instead of like rose colored glasses in the beginning, then they would be making very different decisions about
Mhm.
this. And like, he's like, I agree. And it's true. And this will go into the next topic or the main topic of the podcast today. But like with this case, like, I know who I am and I know who he is. And I know, like, in any job I've ever had, in any role, like physical career, in like my love of content creation, of speaking, of creating the podcast, of anything, my exploration of my spirituality and my anything that I'm doing, the skill that I get, support that I have from him, and the skills that he brings, he's just very good at being supportive. Um, and I feel like this is like one of those things, like it's leveraging that in my life. Like,
Yeah.
and he leverages me in his life in other ways, And so like it's this cool thing. Like I know that I'm always supported in whatever journey that I'm in or take. And so if it's getting something, bringing something, helping something, like he's the man. He's very organized, like project management engineer person, right? Like gets
Yeah.
the job done. It's a task to be done and it's
Yeah.
done. And it's like
Yeah.
not in a, like, I don't know, like not in like a asking whipping boy. I don't know how else to say
Yeah,
that.
not yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I do.
and
There's balance.
because like, yes. And so in all my, like, even in my corporate roles, like, especially in my last role where I traveled a lot or I had to do events or do things, he always openly and willingly lent a hand
Yeah.
and would help support me in those, whether it was physically or with time. Time is, something that is always supported. So my trusty companion
I love it.
will
I
bring them.
I was listening to somebody interview a woman because I think she was 102, 100. Anyway, she was over 100 years old. Her
Yeah.
husband was still alive also, and he was there also, but he was asleep.
Oh
His
my gosh.
102 is a little maybe more rough than hers. But anyway, the interviewer had asked her because they'd been married for 80 years. And he had asked her, had she ever thought about divorce? And it was the cutest answer. She's like, no, never thought about divorce. Now, murder, I thought about daily.
Yeah. That
She's like, now that I did think about.
does that cross my mind? Possibly. And especially this week. Like I have been like really like very testy.
Mm.
Thank you. He gave them they were actually right in front of me this whole time. So I did get a nice look, folks. He handed me the cards. This week I have been very extra testy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that there's a lot happening energetically in the world. We all know that. We've talked about that many times, but like astrologically, a ton of shit changed this week. And then there's energies changing and the world's changing and we're in these transitions. I have felt heaviness all week of like super pressure. I don't know how to explain it. It's been on my chest, I guess, in this space, like feeling like there's not enough time in the day and I've had to pivot and things have worked out. But it's like not anxiety, but it's been like the pressure to get something done.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do I do this? So I've been really testy all week. So I have questioned my life multiple times I have thought about abandoning everyone. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I empathize with this lady because, like, I I don't wanna end it, but I also don't wanna be here. I was like, "I don't wanna look at any of you," but it'll pass. But it's just been one of those weeks, so I feel what that lady feels.
Oh,
And
it's
he probably
funny.
feels that way too
Yeah,
after being on the
probably.
goose chase for my
Yeah.
cards.
That we're
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, the
I
whole
went and
time.
got my nails done this morning, and my nail lady was saying the same thing. She's like, "It's just like I felt heavy, like it's just been a lot this
Mhm.
week." And
Mhm.
she's like, "I can't there's not like something I can pinpoint, you know?"
Mhm.
And she's like, "But that she's from China, so her English is so great, though." I can't remember what she called it. She meant to say, the retrograde left, right? Or it
Yeah, yeah.
lifted. And I
Yeah,
understood what she meant, but it was so cute. I'm like, "Yeah, it did, yesterday, I believe." So I said, "I
yeah.
think everybody's kinda had that feeling, It's been kinda heavy, just mucky,
Oh,
difficult," even though, like she's like, "There's really nothing crazy going on in my life. Lot of things, but nothing out of the ordinary." Oh.
yeah. So yesterday was March 20th, and so, like, Mercury retrograde ended, so it went
Mhm.
direct. Spring equinox happened, so that's
That's right.
it's technically the new year, like, when you look
Oh,
at
yeah.
it from, like, the spring in the beginning, but it's also the astrological new year because the sun moved to the zodiac sign of Aries. So astrologically, it's now the beginning, and so it's like all the fresh starts kinda happen in the same day, and all these things transition all in the same day, and then the retrograde ended, and so I really believe like that collectively has also been part of that feeling and the
Mhm.
shift. And I talked a little bit about it last week, but we just left the last zodiac of the sign. My light died, so I'm in the dark, folks. This is it. This is my week in a nutshell. If you watch on YouTube, you'll see my light died. I'm in the dark. This is fantastic. Pisces is the last zodiac sign, and it is like the final breath, like this, like super dreamy, intuitive kind of feeling. Like we're all kind of like, woo, like they don't. When you think of the sign, there's no boundaries. Like it's just full blast open. Like there is no walls. Like if you think about like a room with no walls, like it's endless. It's endless, and it's a super intuitive sign, and it's a super like I don't know, that's the sound effect I can give you. And then we move into this other zodiac sign, Aries, that's like, "Go!" And fire. We move from water to fire,
Yeah.
and it's like the go, 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 like, action. So you go from, and so, like, you we just changed, and so I think, like, I felt it, man, let me tell you. I've been, like, not I don't know. I agree with that person because I mutually know her also, and I agree with this person because I can't really pinpoint it. Like, there's nothing crazy going on, there's nothing dramatic going on, everything is not terrible, but it's like, I don't know. I feel better today, I think, but I mean, when energy shifts, there's always residual. Like, it doesn't just change overnight, and it can linger because astrologically this takes place, or just because spring started yesterday, or just because we all ascended last week, or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't just like go away. There's still some
No.
of that residual effect, and it could take even like a few days to a week before it
Oh, yeah.
changes fully. And like you
Yeah.
can still feel it. So I think sometimes we forget that too, Like even when you think about the Lunar New Year, or you think about, our New Year, like the Gregorian calendar, is that what it is? When you think of it from that perspective, like, yes, things change, but like you're still that same person you were in 2025. You know what I mean? Like you don't just like become a new person. And so like stuff has to shift and change. So, anyways, it was just a lot in one week. And I think that glad I'm not the only one, but I definitely felt it. It's been, I don't know. I feel like the last 6 weeks have felt kind of intense and like not, I can't name it. It's just been, and it's like the final, like the exhale,
Yeah.
like the,
I can breathe.
so yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down your word leverage. I want to talk about that a little bit with this topic that we wanted to talk about today. I was telling Myra, like, when I work with clients, one of the things I ask is, like, what serves you? What serves your soul? And what are
Mhm.
your values? I mean, those two things are always in alignment. You can use whatever word you want to use. And that aligns with a lot of times they'll come in and say, I'm looking like I want to know my purpose. And I'm using quotations because that's a big word that we use a lot. But a lot of
Yeah.
times people can't answer that question. Like they sit there and they're so attached to their role, their label, whatever,
Yeah.
what brings my soul joy? Being a mom. Okay. What else? What about you? It is
Mhm.
something you're doing. Yes.
Yeah.
But, eventually even Myra's got at one point, Draco's going to be 18 and she's not going to be mama and him every single day anymore.
No.
So I was listening to a podcast this week, and this guy was talking about the same thing. And I found it really interesting because he made it really simple when he said, to know your values or to know what you were put on this earth to do is to just notice what you do in your life that you have no procrastination, no resistance to, that you're going to make happen no matter what. You just do
Mhm.
it. You make it happen. So I was telling Myra, I'm like, we make this podcast happen every week somehow. Somehow
Yeah.
we find the time, we prioritize it. It aligns with us because this is something that I value. I want to do. I want to get my voice out there. I want to be a change in the world. I want to share my experience and talk about things through the spiritual lens, through the energetic lens. That is my number one. And I always make time for this. I make time to work with my clients. It's all in that same vein,
Mhm.
do readings, all of those things. That is something that I'll make time for. And, maybe I don't make time to always do my exercise or, those other
Yeah.
kind of things, right? Or even
Mhm.
today, I'm like, okay, I'm leaving for a week and my husband's amazing. He's been great where I've had to go back and forth with my mom so much of like laundry and
Yeah.
vacuuming and all that, but I really need to clean the bathrooms and I've known that all week and I literally just had to force myself to do that today because it's just
Yeah.
wasn't high on my priority list.
Yeah.
But he talked about like, your purpose when you're doing that and you're in flow when you're doing it. It's easy. It
Mhm.
comes easy. It's not hard. It's not, you procrastinate those things you don't feel comfortable with. And one of the things he said was, he said he was a teacher, a writer, and a speaker. That's what he does, a
Mhm.
researcher. And he's like, those are the things
Mhm.
I do. He hasn't driven in 30 years. He doesn't cook. He's like, I don't do those things. I let
Yeah.
other people do those things because they're great at those things. And what I
Yeah.
found really interesting, and this part I really love because this is what we say so often when we see somebody at that level is, oh, well,
Yeah.
that he said, somebody told me, well, that's easy for you. You're independently rich. And he said, no, no, I'm going to stop you. I'm independently rich because I did those things, because I followed
Yeah.
my purpose, because I leveraged. He said, I learned what leverage meant in my late 20s and I understood there are people who love to drive. I don't. There are people who love to cook. I don't. I leverage
Mhm.
their talents and I let my talents be my main thing. And because I've allowed that, the universe has opened up more possibilities for me, including financial, right? Because it's all about flow,
Yeah.
than I could have ever seen. He's like, if I had not done that, if I had said, no, I've got to make myself, be a soccer dad and get a 9 to 5 and I've got to help
Mhm.
with the cooking. He's like, I wouldn't be where I am today. He's like, it's
Yeah.
because I recognized those things, honored those things, and did those things. In a sense, he didn't use this term, but I thought about it when he said it with such conviction and he's doing it in such an unapologetic way that now he isn't independently wealthy, right? It's
Yeah.
served him very well. And I think sometimes we get so far in the fear energy of
Mhm.
how we perceive others or how we perceive life is supposed to be. And that holds us back so often.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually interesting because I told Tressa I had similar conversations this week, and I think it's such an interesting topic, like purpose, identity, and I had just talked to someone specifically about the mom label, or like we were referring to people and what they put in their like Instagram bios.
Yeah.
And we were laughing because like my Instagram bio is like, good things come to those who walk dogs. I don't even fucking know. I've had that for years. Like it has
I wonder what mine
nothing to
even has. I have no idea.
like ass. Mine really should be like asshole, like that's mine. But, she told me that hers is like emojis. She has like a dragon and a wizard and like a crystal ball and a blah. But we were laughing so hard because like, I shouldn't laugh, but it is a little funny to me because it's funny to me because I don't relate to it. I just don't relate to it. And, I have a lot of people in my life who are so tied down to their labels, and I can't relate. But we were talking about it in a sense that we are so grateful that we can't relate. There's nothing, I have no judgment towards those people and the way that they move through this world. And I understand it. I do. But I mostly was in the conversation of gratitude for my own knowledge and awareness and love of self and my journey, and we were both just like, yeah, I'm just so grateful to be in this space because I've had a separate conversation this week about identity, and the topic was even like down to their hobbies. And I'm like, okay, I guess. But I love what you said, the way that he describes himself. And I never really thought, because I like to learn a lot. And really, you just gave me a word to identify myself with
Mhm.
researcher, because I am a
Yeah,
researcher
you
and
are.
I
Mhm.
love to learn. Like you give me something, I'm going to learn as much as I can about it. I love to know everything about everything. Like I'm hungry for information. I want to know more culture, people, religion, spirituality, concepts, you name it. Business, I don't care. I'll learn like if I'm interested, right? Like
Yeah.
where my soul is led, that knowledge comes fast and easy for me. Math, I mean, I'm not bad at it, but I do not know I'm good. Like I don't want to know it. And so like that's simple, but that's exactly the concept of this. Like math didn't come easy to me, but other subjects do. And like it makes sense because I have a love of learning. So research, I love that. Researcher. Honestly, I relate to this
Mhm.
guy. Researcher, speaker. Definitely I feel like those are two of my like I could say that about myself. And this talks if you listen to the episode last week, we just talked about this like in concepts of like birth charts. But I mean, you don't even have to do
Yeah.
birth charts. You don't need to know that. Like Tressa already knew who she was before like I got in her birth chart last week. It was just cool because it's like,
Yeah,
oh, this
it
says
was cool.
this, and guess
Yeah.
what? Yeah, like this relates. But like I've been, I joked last week about it, but it's true. Like I don't know what's coming for me, but I know that in this space and time, who I am, and I have to be speaking. I have to be sharing my ideas, and not like in a, "Ugh, I have to," but like it is true flow and joy for me. And so I'm going to keep on doing it without any attachment. And that brings me to another conversation I had this week, actually, about how this lady who wanted to become a famous singer. She thought that was her identity. She thought that's like her only goal she had in life. Like, I'm going to be this famous singer. And it was such a difficult road for her. And it did not look to pan out to be that way. But what she did become was this person who is paid as a manifestation teacher. And like she talks about it in this episode about like holding on so tightly to these concepts and labels of what she thought or what she needed to do. But her flow state was actually teaching manifestation. Now, is she a singer and does singing things? Yes, but it came through other ways. And so like what you're talking about with this gentleman where he, the other doors open. So whether someone cooks for him, whether someone
Mhm.
drives for him, whether someone ties his shoes, whatever, the money flowed because he let go of whatever he was holding on to, went in his calling, his flow state, and then everything else unlocked. So
Mhm.
like for
Exactly.
this lady, the singing did unlock, but it wasn't through this path that she was originally trying to hold so tightly onto. And like, I'm not, I don't have it all figured out either. Cause this is actually, the conversation came up this week about myself. Like, I have these feelings and thoughts around what I'm good at and what I want to do. But I was telling this person, I'm like, I just want like someone to tell me what to do, because it's like, I just want someone to give me the map. Like, just tell me. And, she was laughing and she's like, and that's when they shared the story. And I think sometimes we do just want someone to be like, tell me what it is, but you're right. Like when you're in true flow, you don't need to know because the things will start unlocking and coming as they're meant to be. It just isn't the exact same thing you're thinking or looking at. And when you're following the wrong stuff, it becomes hard or difficult or just feel like this is not it. And I have been in resistant energy in many places of my life. And I know those feelings when things are not aligned. And so like I've been gifted with that knowledge and feeling and I have gratitude for that, to know what it feels like to be in resistant energy. And I have the gratitude and knowledge to know what it feels like to be in flow.
Yeah. Yeah, you know the feeling, right? I mean, and that it's that simple. It's like I love the way he put it so simply. Like, what do you make sure you do? Because whatever that is, and it's easy and it's flowing and you enjoy it and
Yeah.
it raises your vibration. He didn't use that
Mhm.
term, that's my term, but that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, right? Like it serves you in such a way that it's just, you're going to find a way to make it happen for sure. And I
Yeah.
thought about, like, I mean, I feel like I have a lot of those same things. I'm a researcher in energy and spirituality. That I
Yeah.
digest it all the time. It's
Yeah.
my world. It's what I've done for over a decade now. And the beautiful
Yeah.
thing is that when somebody needs help with that topic, I'm a teacher. They don't have to take the
Mhm.
years and years of classes and reading and all the things I've done and that I continue to do.
Mhm.
They can come in, have a session with me, and I can guide them with the knowledge that I
Mhm.
have. So they can leverage
Yeah.
me without having to go out and do a decade worth of all the things I've done. And
Yep.
that's truly my entire world. That's the one thing I
Yeah.
love to digest and read and all the things. That's where my energy goes, and it shows
Yeah.
up. And it's funny because in my job at my corporate job, I've had something on my to-do list for a month at least. Well, first my boss asked
Mhm.
me to do it. I didn't really understand the assignment. One, because I hate doing these things. Then I had to re-ask and I put it on my to-do list and it's been sitting there. And all of a sudden yesterday, I saw the gal in the hallway who's waiting for me to do this task, right? It's called a spec where I work. And I hate writing them. I just hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. I just don't do it. And I mean, all of a sudden yesterday, it's like, why do you have this on your to-do list? You're trying to force yourself to do
Mhm.
something you hate. Procrastination, right? Exactly what he said. When I have somebody on my team and I'm the freaking boss, like, why am I not delegating this? I literally sat there looking at
Yeah.
why? Have somebody on my team who I can give the concept. I have the concept in my mind. I can do that. That part I can
Yeah.
do. But putting it out on paper in that format, I don't like. So I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
going to give that to her Monday. I'll give her the concept. She'll have that done probably Monday afternoon. It's not a difficult task. I've made it difficult
Yeah.
because I have such resistance to it. And so even
Mhm.
in that, I'm like, okay, if you imagine if you would have just done this a month ago or whenever it was, it would have been done, would have been off your list. But
Yep.
for some
Mhm.
reason, I kept thinking, oh, I better do that myself. Or I don't even know what I was thinking. She's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. I'm like, I kind of go into comparison or like I should be
Yeah.
able to do that easily, but it doesn't come easy to me. The concept of it does, the writing of it
Yeah.
does not. So, yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, it was kind of another epiphany moment for me too. I was like, yeah, I'm delegating that. It'll get done easily by, like I said, probably Monday or Tuesday. She'll be
In
able to
20
do it
minutes. Yeah.
in 20 minutes if she can sit down
Yeah.
and do it.
And focus.
Our
Yeah.
lovely, yeah, our bestie, we know her.
Yeah. Yeah. All the things that can be done with
All
laser
the things,
focus.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that too. And I relate. Like, I naturally will procrastinate the things that I don't want to do or feel comfortable doing. Then it's like, why did I wait or why did I do this or that? And I actually love like in a real world relatable place, it is thinking of like and through the concept of management. You might be this person with this skill set, but you have all the reason you have people that work for you or under you is because they all bring individual skill sets. And that's why there are other departments and there's other people. Like, if we look at, I never look at corporate as spiritual, but if you look at it this way, like really, I mean, that is the same principle here. And
Mhm.
it's so easy to be like, oh, well, I can delegate this to this person in this format or to this department, or not delegate, but, like partner or collaborate or whatever it is, or, eventually it does become a delegation, but it can seem difficult to do that in your own life or like on personal concepts too. Like I don't really think I could ever ask someone to drive me, and I'm just not in that state of mind. Now, that is a limitation and block that I have that I would need to remove. But I also like to drive. Like, I have no issue driving. But I think, like, the concept of not driving myself is bizarre to me. And so I think it's funny, but I get it. Like, that's awesome. Like, it actually, and I think about if I live somewhere larger, I probably would rather someone drive me around. But I don't have any feelings otherwise. But I think, like, getting over ourselves and realizing, hey, I actually don't like this. And I've talked about it before, but I don't like to cook. I'm not bad at it, but I just don't like it.
Mhm.
And so that's part of this role in this partnership that I have in my marriage. I don't cook, and I don't care that I don't cook. And my life's better because of that.
Yeah.
And the person who likes to cook and it brings them joy cooks. And we don't play this game like I'm the wife, I must cook. Like, because I'm the woman, and we don't play roles and labels and weird delegation shit like that. We own it as it is. He likes to cook. So he does the cooking, and I don't think twice about it. And so, like, for someone else, that might be a hard concept to grasp. But for me, I'm not doing it. And, I don't believe in, like, I'll help assist if I need to be. I mean, I'm home,
Yeah.
like, but past crock pot chicken, baby, I ain't cooking. I make great
Yeah.
shredded chicken in the crock.
I
That's
I
about
thought
it.
of I thought of a word that I think fucks us with this whole concept. I wrote it down. It's called fairness. We come up with this idea of
Mhm,
fairness. And I'm like, what does
mhm,
that even mean? Like even me, was I being fair to ask somebody else to do this when I felt like I had a lot on their plate? Well, I have a lot on my plate too. They're just different action items, right? You
mhm,
think about the concept of what we've been talking about within the partnerships of marriage, well, I'm the
mhm,
same way. I enjoy cooking. I do all of the cooking for the most part,
mhm.
but he does things that he loves that I don't love to do. I don't like vacuuming.
Yeah,
I hate it. I don't know what it is. I don't like to do it, but
yeah,
I like my house cleaned, you know? So
yeah. Oh,
like
I clean
but
my house all the time. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but if you
Like,
went into
I'm
the
the cleaner.
energy of fairness,
Yeah,
it could
yeah,
be, well, it's your week to vacuum and it's my week to cook, or we
yeah,
get into that whole, I guess, it's not really a label, but it's these things or these concepts that we've been taught or that we've seen or that we've been programmed with, right? And like
yeah.
dropping that and just like, letting that whole energy go, I think is valuable. Like, I was thinking, I looked at this car, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago. It was a Genesis car, and it was
Mhm.
like it was so cool. I got in this car, and it would be one of those cars like you would have a driver. You would just be in the back
Yeah,
seat having a driver. I was like, if I
yeah,
had a driver, this would be badass. Because sometimes I don't love to drive and I don't love being driven because I get a little, Myra knows, my little
yeah,
anxiety sometimes on the road. But what I thought about was this: when I get in an Uber or I get in a limo or I get in something where that energy, like they own the driver. They're like, I've
yeah,
never felt nervous. Is that weird? Like,
yeah.
I'm
I
not
haven't
even
either.
seatbelted in. I'm not even like a
Yeah.
limo I've taken or a Uber sometimes. It's like, why do I don't
Mhm.
feel the need to put on a seatbelt? Because their energy's like, this is what I do for a living. I'm a driver. I've got
Yeah.
this. I
Mhm.
mean, there's some truth to that because
Yep.
I get in with Joe Blow or myself and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know?
I think too, what's even interesting in this dynamic, think about even the positions of where you get in this car. Like, if I've driven you across the state, you're not riding in the back. And so,
No.
like, really the energetic exchange is very different. And
Mhm.
like being in the back seat is a submissive energy. I mean, it really is. And
Yeah.
so when you are engaging in an Uber or a taxi in this case,
And you're in
you
the
are
back.
being yeah, you're being submissive to the driver. Like, you can't grab the wheel, you can't
Yeah.
slam on the brake, you can't grab his, like, like, there's nothing happening, you're in the back seat. And so, I think it's really interesting, like, I never thought about that before until, like, we're talking about it right now. Like, it's probably even just the balance of energy of trust because you're submitting to this individual as your paid driver.
Yeah. It's
And,
true, and
like,
there's an
when you
energy
think about it
exchange
yes,
through the money.
exactly. That's another thing. That's
Yep,
another thing. There's a
yep,
balance of it, like,
yeah.
there is you're exchanging in some form, like, it's already taken place, and so it frees the energy to flow, and so then you're not holding it in this anxious feeling, this anxious mode, like
Mhm.
and that's just a really interesting thing. I hadn't really ever put it into that concept before,
I
but
really
it makes
didn't until we
sense.
were talking about it today, you know? And even when Myra and I were in New York a couple years ago, we took a Uber down to Times Square. And dude,
I'm thinking about the one we took home. I was like, I think we might die.
well, I thought we were dying on the way, but there was still like, I mean, I was a little nervous in the back, but I'm like, this dude knows what he's doing. He's driving like, I mean, the cars are so close, in New York City, it's just a whole different beast. But still, there was a level of confidence we were going to arrive alive in you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was interesting, but it's what they navigate all day long, right? Where it just
Yeah.
was foreign to me. So I don't know, man. I might take a page out of this guy's book and the more I work on my purpose, flow, and doing what I love when I'm independently rich, I think I may hire a driver and get that badass car. I'll sit in the back. I'll have him have a little hat or her. I don't care.
Yeah, I
I
love
think
it.
of Mr. Big
Yeah,
on Sex in the City. He always got
hey,
driven.
you can honey, yes, and you can hang out the window and holler at anybody. I
That's
am
right.
for it. I envision him just, like, rolling his window down. I don't know, I just can see it. Oh my gosh. This is
Uh,
non-related, but I have to just say it. So, like, I've been rewatching or watching, on FX. I'm watching it through Hulu, but it's Love Story, so the John F. Kennedy and Carolyn Bessette story. But it's dramatized because it's done by Ryan Murphy, who does, like, the American Horror Stories, but he also does, like, these other shows, and he's very good at what he does. I mean, he's done, like, the one where Kim Kardashian's a lawyer, and so, like, they're very very dramatic and dramatized. Anyways, but because of this show, it has resurfaced this, like, desire to live in New York in the 90s,
mm,
and I'm like, I feel it totally true because my favorite shows are Friends, Sex and the City, and I can't stop watching this show. I love it. Like I'm digesting every second of it. And it doesn't, I mean, I don't really care. I mean, I already know, I knew all these things about them. I wasn't even alive yet or no, I was alive when they died, but I was not, I was a baby. I was a small child, like 5, 2, 3, or something like that. I don't even know what I
yeah.
was. But it's so funny because, like, I've been back romanticizing New York in the 90s. And so I have a coworker right now who lived in New York in the 90s and early 2000s. And I said, "Was it really that good?" And she said, "It really was."
Was
And
it?
I'm like,
Yeah.
she said, "That's when it was," but she referred to it. She said, "That's when it was New York." And I've actually seen other people say the same thing, and she's a journalist, and, like,
Mhm.
my dream job when I was a youth, I wanted to either be a talk show host or be a journalist. I wanted
Mhm.
this, like think about even, like, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Andy in the City, like, she
Yeah.
goes out there and she's a journalist in the city, or, like, even think about Carrie, or Sarah Jessica Parker as Carrie,
Yeah.
like, she
Carrie
was a
Bradshaw.
journalist in the city, she's a
Yeah.
writer, so obviously I like to write. Something about words
Yeah.
and writing really attracted me, talk show host, talking, writing, and so, like, I've always been driven to these things, so, like but I romanticized him in such a weird way. Not a weird way, it's okay to romanticize, that there's nothing wrong with that, but it goes back to what I had originally said with the other gal. Like, I can't imagine my life if I was so hardcore obsessed with being a journalist in New York. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or, like, I wouldn't have the life I have, and I have a
No.
beautiful life, and
Mhm.
things wouldn't have flowed the way that they were meant to flow. And
Mhm.
so who knows what can happen? And I'm not like laying in bed crying that I'm not a journalist in New York, but I work for a financial publication, a website. So like I'm technically do write editorial. So
You
like
do.
it's something
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
happened in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like so things happen, right? Like I'm talking on a podcast. It's a talk show. Like, but if I was so deeply obsessed and in control and in this resistant, control equals resistance. So like in this resistant energy to be this person who fit exactly that, then I wouldn't have what I have, and who knows what it would be. I even think about that in my collegiate experience. Like I was so dead set that I was gonna go through the journalism school, and then after my dad transitioned, my whole world changed, my concept of life changed, like, things that I had thought were important became minuscule, like and that does happen, that happens in big T's, big transitions,
It
grief,
does. Mhm.
deaths, whatever you
Yeah.
wanna say.
Yeah.
Any experience like that can change your outlook on life, and so my outlook did change, and I'm grateful for me being in flow with whatever that looked like versus me holding so hard and forcing, because once I changed majors, my classes became easier for me. Like things flowed like they were meant to flow. And I was in a whole better mindset. And it was exactly what I needed to do to graduate and move on. So,
Yeah.
anyway, those are a couple examples of like being so caught up in one thing, but I can still be a writer. I am a writer. I write every day. I've been writing for over a decade in a professional setting.
Mhm.
It just wasn't exactly that, and I'm a speaker. I'm a teacher. I teach concepts that I learn. I like want to talk about it. I want to share those things. Like I get to be these different roles that are my purpose, but in these beautiful ways that I would have never thought about if I was just so married to these crazy, they're not crazy. I shouldn't say they were crazy because they're good aspirations. But if I was so to these aspirations that had to be exact, so
Yeah, I think
I
it
don't know.
kinda that goes back to theory of comparison to me because you see, like, how it was portrayed
Yeah,
with Carrie Bradshaw, for an example, or whatever, like this then sometimes people get that in their mind, and they think that's it has to look exactly like that for me to serve
yeah,
myself, and I think that's where things can get dangerous for that individual because you are fighting against the grain every step of the way instead of understanding, things can happen in many, many different facets in many, many different ways
yeah,
when you just release it and you continue to do what serves you, what serves your soul, what makes your vibration higher, brings you joy, at the highest level. And people, get that in their mind and that's the only thing they do. And that's
yeah.
when things don't usually go that well. Yeah.
No.
So, anyway, all right. Well, are you going to give us some cards?
Yes,
Yeah, let's do
I'll give us
cards.
some cards.
We're going to have to.
Let me
Oh,
shuffle.
can you hear Tug? He's outside and wants in. Poor guy, my dog.
Poor Tug.
I know. I told him if we went out, he wasn't getting in till the podcast was over. I guess he didn't get the memo.
He didn't listen.
He did not.
He did not.
It's so
What's
nice out
funny
there. He's
is
just fine.
I was gonna ask, like, is the weather nice? Because it got warmer again here, but I feel like Wyoming didn't have a winter. But I don't know
No,
if
it
that's
didn't.
just like my perception from
No,
the
it
outside
was my
looking
car said it
in.
was
I don't know.
76 today. After we're done here, I'll go.
Oh, that's
Last
the
night I
same
walked.
temperature here. Yeah.
Yeah, I walked Tug last night at like 6, 7 o'clock at night. It was like 70. I was
Yeah.
like, what in the world?
That's crazy.
So wild. But
I didn't know how to shuffle cards until I started doing oracle stuff.
yeah,
I never like I was really like I lick my thumb when I do it. So sorry.
I
Whoever
learned to
watches
shuffle.
this, like I do this like crazy thing where they fly out.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, they fly
Yeah.
out and those are the ones you pick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you will not fucking believe this.
I will. I absolutely will.
I want to cry.
That's okay.
Pulled invention, purpose, and freedom. And Tressa is my witness. And if y'all pick up on this on the YouTube, you will
Yeah,
see that those
it
flew
was
out. Like I did
totally
not.
not rigged.
Yeah, I did not rig this. So I want to cry now. I don't know. Like that was crazy. I
Mm.
feel like because I was nervous. I'm like, oh, well, I'll be in tune if I shuffle in the middle of an episode.
This is divinity kind of giving you confirmation.
Yeah,
An
guys, I
odd,
want to
yeah.
do naked oracle read. I'm just kidding. I kind of do that. I think there would be a market for me.
I thought about this naked shit the other day, Myra. I don't know why I had this. Like, yeah, I know you're always
I
about the
can't
naked,
stop.
but I was like, what if we just stopped wearing clothes? Like, what if we just
Yeah.
all stopped wearing clothes? I don't know why I thought of this. I'm like, like we're slaves to fashion, right? And what if we
We're
just
slaves to
all
all of
wore
it.
yeah, well, that's one thing, right? And that's the struggle I'm a slave to. So I was like, what if I just fuck it and let's just be naked? Just
Yeah.
all be naked.
Yeah, I'm ready. Well, okay, I'll share a little bit about these. I won't read the whole little
Okay.
book on these, but these are cool. So I pulled invention first, and it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful card. If you
Ooh,
look
I
at
like
it,
it.
for those
Yeah.
listening, it's like these beautiful purples and greens and kind of like this pinkish color and like a hand touching the center of a white light.
Yeah.
And it just kind of ripples out. It's really beautiful. But it says keywords are like adaptation, adjustment, transformation, and challenge. And these are your helper guides. And it's like sometimes life gives you lemons, but not to worry. Your helper guides are on hand. They help you transform your lemons into lemonade. So, like, no matter who you are or what circumstances you've inherited, life is always a blend of both the positive and the negative. Your helper guides urge you to be grateful for the positives of your life and to be creative and inventive with the negatives. They are on your hand to help transform any adverse or challenging situation into one for the better. So, instead of dwelling on lousy circumstances, get your innovative juices flowing and change the undesirable or adversarial situation into a more satisfying one. Then it says, rather than endure an unfulfilling job, for example, be resourceful and courageous and start the business you've dreamed of for years. Rather than remain in an unsatisfying relationship, summon enough love to move on. And this says that, it's not, don't deny the painful aspects of your life. Just know you don't have to tolerate them any longer. So use your sadness, frustration, or lack of fulfillment as an incentive to create better circumstances. And so the message overall is when life hands you lemons, make lemonade.
Yeah.
But like we just were talking about this.
We were.
I am like,
exactly. Yeah.
I'm in tune, guys. This is funny because I second guess. I actually had someone say this to me the other day. I was like, I keep looking for me to get these intuitive downloads. And they're like, you're so crazy. You have them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you looking for? And I'm like, I want like the reality, I think. And they're like, yeah, you've got them. You need to like listen. Yeah. So this is just confirmation, I think, for me. If
Yeah, it really
anything.
is.
Yeah. This one is purpose, which is exactly what the episode says. This says consistency, dedication, reliability, and faithfulness. So it says, like seeing this card. So like this card for this episode. So whoever's listening, you're at a threshold of your purpose in life. Work will soon cease to feel meaningless or unsatisfactory. These are your teacher guides. So if you're calling on your teacher guides to help you, and they're directing you to the path of genuine soul fulfillment. The more aligned you become with your life's proper path, the more your days will flow with ease. This is crazy, guys. This new path, the more doors will open and barriers will give way to opportunity, affirming that this path is for you. Do not second guess. You may have to begin at the beginning. Even so, throw your heart and soul into your effort and give it your full attention. Dedication and passion will pay off in the long run. And this says, like, overall, move ahead, but pace yourself. So you don't want to, like, burn out, but just remain steady and proceed. And then, like, go full steam, but don't, like, burn out, I think, overall, too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you get excited, you kind of push to the limit, I think. And then the last one I pulled was freedom, which I think, and it's a beautiful card. Here's the purpose one. I didn't show that card. She's a beautiful woman
Yeah, I
with
love
this
that.
beautiful white light and
Yeah.
this soul star looking thing. I don't know why I said soul star, but looks like soul star to me.
Yeah, it does.
So it's up for me to interpret, right? And then this one is your freedom card, and it's a beautiful dove coming out of a cage, kind of going to that same little starlight
Yeah,
thing.
same kind of star.
So it's kind of like go together. And it's orangey, so kind of, I don't know, creativity. Look, but these are your runner guides. We talked about them last week too.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Your freedom is liberation, escape, expansion, and flight. Now is the time to shed dependencies that prevent you from living your best life. Oh my gosh, guys. And to remind you that you don't have to, that you have the freedom to move on. Don't hold back out of fear that there is nothing better for you because you cannot see it now. Instead, let your runner guides connect you with openings, opportunities, and invitations that will allow you to step out of your limiting and unfulfilling circumstances and lead you to the life you really desire. And then it just basically is asking, like, are you stagnant? Like, are you staying in a job because you feel like you have to, or a relationship? But it says, they are pointing out the avenues of escape so you can move on to bigger and more fulfilling and an authentic existence. Pay attention to invitations. So look out. I mean, if you listen to this episode and things come up for you like an invitation, opportunity, and inspiration that fulfill your soul or fulfill your purpose, you're being made aware of those options that you haven't seen or even considered before now. So the message overall says that you are not trapped. A more fulfilling life awaits you when you let go of limiting dependencies and trust your spirit and not your fears to lead. Find your courage, pay attention to your runners as they point the way, then fly.
I
So,
love that. One thing I wanted to say, it's interesting that it said dedication and passion. I mean, we talked about that on the episode, right? Your passion.
mhm.
But also, I think another thing that I think guides you to know is when you're truly doing that, you feel energized afterwards. You don't feel depleted.
Yeah.
You feel really powerful and energetic when you're doing things that you're passionate about versus when you're struggling or forcing yourself to do something.
Mhm.
I think that's an indicator
Yeah,
too.
totally. I agree.
Well, that was exciting. I like that. I'm glad we thought of the cards
I'm glad
today.
you
It's been,
asked.
I
Yeah.
know, it worked out really great. Yeah. So, all right, friends. Well, it was a good episode. So, until next time, keep your vibrations way high.
And stay sassy.